education sector, we have e-learning spread more in the rural areas. And also we have developed an application for the mobile that the fishermen could use to check the fishing prices and where the fish stock is. So these are something that we highlighted in the VNR as case studies, which could be used by and adopted by other countries as well. And the presentation is, I think, where it's more of like advertising your report. So we felt that there was no point in repeating or giving a summary of what was actually in the report there, because it was what most of the countries were doing. But we felt that we would just highlight the challenges or the issues that as a country we wanted to push, and that very much focused on as from the perspective of small island states. And we were not only advocating for ourselves, but for the other small island development states as well. And the unique challenges we face as a island nation, the impact of climate change, the high cost of development cost of per capita development cost, and accessing the furthest is a huge challenge as we are an island nation. And things get more expensive, or the cost of having projects implemented gets like quadruple-fold than if in most of the South Asian countries. So we did highlight those kind of things
1 minute, please.
In our presentation. And some tips when you are presenting the VNR, make best of the time. The limited time is, the time is limited, and I felt that using audio visuals made an impact, because sometimes when you go, we are competing with so many other countries to get the attention and highlight the issues that we would be selling to the people, the audience. So making an audio visual message or highlighting your key points in a visual video or something was more helpful when actually then doing some PowerPoint presentations or statements by government official. And also it is important to highlight the key findings or lessons learned, or some things that the other countries can learn from you, what you have done within your country, or highlight the pioneering or new areas that are being explored. Like we are now using drone technology to monitor the coastlines, the erosion, the beach erosions and such activities, which was a very costly affair for us before, because we had to travel, measure, then it was time-taking and expensive. But with the new technology that has come in, and we are using that to monitor the coastal erosions as well. So these are some things that the other countries could have adapted for themselves as well. And also, yeah. And also focusing on challenges that your country is facing, the unique challenges like the LDCs, the SEEDs, the landlocked countries, climate change, which are affecting you, and you want to press that issue forward. And also it could give insight to the way forward. And I felt that it was best not to repeat what it was stated in the report, because the report is there and anyone can read the report, the figures and things. And also keeping the materials and simple and clear, and be creative about your presentation as well, and highlight that that business as usual is not going to achieve the SDGs, but we have to do something innovative and think outside the box if we want to achieve this thing. And these are the things that we would want to highlight in the presentation and then sell to the audience when we are doing the VNR presentation.
Thanks.
So if you have any questions, we'll take it
Oh, yeah,
further.
yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm just running, you were rightly saying that, the time management is a big issue over there. It is so easy here, by the way. So, but thank you very much. I think this is a very good tips that you have provided to use all the visuals, how to really take up the major issues and then highlight it, and then make sure that there is an international cooperation. So thank you very much for all that contribution. Now I would like to invite Mr. Khomraj Koirala Joint Secretary, National Planning Commission, Nepal.
Thank you, distinguished moderator, His Excellency Gyanchandra Acharya, panelists at the dais, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Before move to my presentation, first of all, I express my sincere thanks to His Excellency Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, who made the very enlightening public lecture few days ago in Kathmandu, and I was also presented at the meeting, and he personally invited us. And again, Nagesh Kumarji, the director and head of this UNESCAP in South and Southwest Asia, and Dr. Sachin Chaturvedi, Director General of RIS, for your kind invitation to me to present our progress of SDGs in this very important forum. I feel very much honored to present on this meeting, and as it is a very great forum that help us to exchange our views, learn each other's progress in the regions. I remember last year we host and jointly organized this meeting in Kathmandu, and we have shared our views and progress of SDGs and in this region, and it was a very productive meeting, and again I thank again to UNESCAP in this regards. And we made our BNR in 2017, and you can find the details of it in our websites also. And due to the time limit, I go to the presentation. This is just outline. I skip this. And just you may know about our country situation. It's a small economy between two giant economies of the Asia. And here, rest of the macroeconomic indicators are not quite good, but I highlight here one export-import ratio. Our trade deficit is widening, and still it is a last year data, and now also it is widening. This is one of the very hindering and challenging indicator for us, and poverty headcount is still, it is declining from this level, 21.6, MPI is 28.6, and literacy rate and life expectancy is growing better, and human development index also getting better. And in Nepal, Sustainable Development Goals, if you see, we are aligning, adapting, and adopting these Sustainable Development Goals in our plans, policies, and strategies in all tiers of the government, in federal level, in provincial level, and local level. And we have the four some strategy, this identification. We have identified about 479 these indicators, and with the instrument of plan, policies, and programs, and with some intervention. And we have identified our resource gap in investment. About 48% of the resources needed for this meeting the gap, and institutions in the public, private, and community, and non-governmental sectors, and even out of the pocket, households. Also, we have identified the institutions to achieve this shared aspiration of generating, sharing, and sustaining the prosperity in the country. Now this is the last year of our 14th plan, and we are working for long-term development vision and 15th five-year periodic plan from the next year. We are working on this. And if you see the 15th plan, the infrastructure strategies, economic strategies, governance strategies, social strategies, cross-cutting issues are aligned with the SDGs, the 17 goal and 169 targets. This is our roadmap for SDG achievement 2016 and 2030, published by National Planning Commission. And we identified 479 indicators. It's a little small, but the total is 479, and we have not included the goal 14, lives below the water, as we are the landlocked country in the region. So based on this roadmap, we have categorized these goals as this type. 1, 2, and 6, and 7 as a basic mark for the civilization. Goal 3 and 4 for exercise of human capabilities and agencies. Goal 5, 10, and 16 for higher human aspiration. Goal 8, 9, 11, and 12 for means for sustaining progress. Goal 13, 14, and 15 for future prosperity. And means of implementation and revitalizing the global partnership is goal 17 we have identified on this. This is our priority of in budget, in resource mapping, basically in poverty reduction. We use about 9.7% of our budget. In zero hunger, it is 3%. Quality of education in goal 4, about 4%. And clean energy in goal 7, 6.6. Industry and infrastructure is 12.3 in goal 9. Sustainable cities in 15.4 in goal 11. And in governance in goal 16, about 10% of the ratios. And we have not coded about 31.4% of the ratios that is transferred to the fiscal transfer, as our Honorable Vice Chairman already mentioned about this in his opening remarks also. So this estimation of the cost requirement for 2030, about 20-25 billion of our currency in Nepalese currency, we have identified as a resource gap. So it is about 48% of our GDP. Basically, we have identified this in different categories of our time period. So it's the average one. So huge resource gap still exists in the country. So this is just resource need can be fulfilled by private sector, public sector, cooperatives, and community sector and households. Basically, public sector that covers about, based on our estimation, about 55% of the resource, and rest 45% covers by this rest of the three sectors. This is the institutional re-engineering in the country. National Steering Committee is there by Right Honorable Prime Minister, and Implementation and Coordination and Monitoring Committee chaired by Honorable Vice Chairman of Planning Commission. And there are respective thematic committees in the chairmanship of the honorable members of the National Planning Commission. So these are all the sectors and all the stakeholders are board in these thematic committees and implement these coordination committees to implement the SDGs. Let me move slightly different in LDC graduation status of Nepal. If you see, we technically almost graduated this triennial review based on Human Assets Index and Economic Vulnerability Index. These two indicators we achieved in both the triennial review. But still our GNI per capita is still low, but it is quite increasing recent days. So maybe we are postponing for next triennial review. This maybe next time we may come up with the better results. And implementation strategy, we have been administering SDGs in national, provincial, local level budgeting and planning process. We use the medium-term expenditure framework that align the SDGs in a national program and planning system. And annual regular audits or progress review we do in the SDGs. Strong collaboration between the governments, so 3 tiers of government we do, and partnership between public, private, cooperative, and non-governmental sectors is crucial in implementation. And we explore the new avenues for resource to meet the resource gap. So just mention, my previous speaker also some mention about data management and some challenges. This is the challenges for us too. Basically, we have 479 targets and about 100 indicators. We do not have the data in the central level too. If you go to the provincial level, this is more hard for us to find the data, and in about 40% that we do not have the data, and in 17% data are not evaluated, but we could include them in future surveys, and about 28% we need to further analyze, and 15% we have publicly available data in provincial level, and we have been working for local level data generation and disaggregation. About 130 indicators have already we identified the disaggregated data at provincial level. And these are some initiatives that we have been working in the country. We have been developing national data profile system, new National Planning Commission on the chairmanship of Vice Chairman. We launched this new program because we are heading and we are transforming our state into federal structure.
1 minute, huh? 1 minute left.
And this national data system is we are going to make, and disaggregated level data also we are generating, and existing survey and MS data we are also incorporating them, and to assist the policies and decisions, and we have the online portal and intergovernmental data sharing system also. But we have the challenges. we have to revise the policies. Basically, I already mentioned about trade deficit, and even monetary sector. Our currency is devaluating, and this has great impact in the country. In taxation, we have ambitious tax for this year, tax generation, and FDI and investment, and other macroeconomic policies. And we have to develop some SDG forums and sequencing and prioritizing the implementation through we do from medium-term expenditure framework, and we have to improve our governance system too, because SDGs are vast and wide coverage. And also, again, data availability and capacity development, we have the still challenges, and enhance the production quality and dissemination of the data. And resource availability, already I mentioned about the resource gap, the climate change and DRR, and we want to graduate meaningfully, smoothly, sustainably, and irreversibly. That is why we have to work hard to achieve the SDGs so that we could, achieve and graduate sustainable in following triennial review. And finally, in final step, we are focusing the evidence-based policies, because one size does not fit all. So we are generating the country-specific measures. Of course, my previous speaker also highlighted the policy coherence. So we have the 3-tier of the government, and we have to align all the policies in the system. And current government has the ambition of the double-digit growth with a human pace. That already mentioned about our right honorable Vice Chairman, prosperous Nepal and happy Nepal. This is our this ambition. And institutional strengthening and capacity development, and SDG-based planning in 3 tiers of the government. We have been developing